Don't make a girl a promise. If you know you can't keep it. They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck. Was I wrong? Don't make a girl a promise. If you know you can't keep it. They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted.
Yeah, hold that awkward face again. Welcome everyone to episode 11 of the Xbox Series podcast. I'm here again with Deadly, Headley and Gamzly. We're going to talk about loads of Xbox related things that have been going on this week. So thank you for joining us. Deadly, Headley, how have you been?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I am still on annual leave. That sadly is coming to an end this week, but I've really enjoyed the downtime. That's been nice. And we will get into this very shortly, I'm sure. I've been playing games, lots of games. Well, lots of one game in particular, and it's been delightful. But yeah, I'm very good, thank you.
We
It's not The
definitely
Last
are.
of Us.
Fucking Brotato, don't you dare. We're going to get into the games and stuff, but you also, over the course of the last week, you released that video that you promised us, didn't you? Tell us a little bit about that. You happy with it? You want?
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That was really fun. So I hadn't made a video in a really long time. So I think first of all, I found it very, very cathartic to get some video production out there and just make some stuff, which I really enjoyed. You can go and check that out now. It is on my channel, but make sure you do it after this podcast. Don't go and leave, because we need you here hanging out with us. Hitting that like button, preferably. Thank you. We are. Don't know why I'm saying we. Yes, I put a video out that basically covers all of the sort of industry madness that we've seen over the last few months. Summarizes it quite nicely. Really, really proud of the writing on it. Really proud of the comedy beats and the sort of dry sense of humor that I bring to most aspects of life. Going through that, very, very happy with it. Really proud of the production value. It is like 18 minutes long. There's a lot of work that went into it. But yeah, very, very proud of that video. So yeah, please go and check that out when you get the opportunity to.
And I have watched it for those that haven't. It is thorough. He does do due diligence on everything that he wants to talk about there and covers it from lots of different angles. So it is well worth a watch after this show. Gamzly, still in prison. Tell me more about your life.
Definitely still in prison. I really wanted to show up with my next mascot for this episode, but I couldn't find one. You're lucky. You're lucky, because I saw on the doc that I myself made that Brotato is getting a DLC, and I wanted his little cousin to be here today, but I couldn't find it. So you're lucky. You're so fucking
saw
lucky.
On the document,
it's coming back,
the words
baby.
that you wrote to wind me up.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
It is. And do you know
but
what?
Besides that, I've been playing games.
We're going to get onto those games in a minute, but I want to get this out of the way first and foremost. This is not the running order of the document, but I'm going to pick this Brotato nonsense out so we can address it and put it behind us and move on with our lives. Gamzly, what's going on? Why do we care about Brotato again?
Because it's adding co-op, baby. So now me and you can go play together.
Is it actually adding co-op?
It's actually adding co-op.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How many players? Just 3?
I think it's 2. Yeah, I think it's 2.
Okay, if it's more than 2, we're gonna have to stream a session. Like that's gonna have to happen.
They're making the stages bigger, I think, Asa. So
excellent.
I mean, you might
They're making anything happen. I don't care. It's still just going to be a slightly extended sea of brown, isn't it?
Yes.
Make them bigger.
Yes, it is. But there's new skins for your Brotato, Asa, and there's new weapons. Come on.
Okay.
You and I, let's do it together.
Obviously, we have to do that.
Let's make peace. Let's make peace.
But beyond that, well, we've always had peace, Gamzly. It's all for show. The little
Have
hostilities, aren't they?
I wouldn't go that far. Peace might be a stretch.
Yeah, let me just look at my backlog of messages on Twitter.
Okay, not always peace, but more or less. A little bit of winding up every now and again, but good times. Okay, so Brotato, for those that don't know, it is getting DLC. It is. I mean, the game's done well for itself. Obviously, it's on Game Pass. It did well for itself before then, and it sucks ass. Let's move on to the running of the show, and we always start off talking about actual games that we enjoy. Deadly Headley, you mentioned that you've been deep into. I know what it's going to be because I know that it's a very long game that you can't have finished since last week, so it's going to be the same one. Tell me about it. Tell me if it's last time you had started Act 3 on Baldur's Gate 3. From my own experience, at that point, certain things did start to wear thin a little bit, and this is where I reached the conclusion that I did not want to play it again straight away after finishing it. How are you feeling about this game now? How is it treating you?
So I'm still in Act 3. I feel like I'm in a bit of a weird spot at the moment. So I think I've mentioned on the show before, there's a little bit of sort of, maybe you could classify it as self-doubt with Baldur's Gate 3, where there are quite a few fights that I will sort of barely scrape through, and there's still that sort of air of, maybe I don't 100% know what I'm doing. Like, if you asked me to min-max a character, I wouldn't know when to start.
Much like Brotato, you're not very good at this one.
You got me. Turns out I'm just trash. No, I've been able to hold my own in Baldur's Gate. I think there's just I'm at the point now where basically what I have decided to do in Act 3 is kind of just uncover as much as I can, discover all the things that I need to do. So I've got different character side quests that I can go and complete. One of them I tried and got absolutely slaughtered in, so I need to go and figure out how I'm going to go and approach that one. One of them, there is a door that I'm struggling to get through, so I need a little bit more information sort of gathered to try and figure out how to get past it. I can go and do like some of the main final quests, I think. I think kind of just finding my feet and getting my bearings and sort of, so okay, I've gotten to I'm in the lower city in Baldur's Gate 3.
Be very careful of spoilers. Just
I don't want to get far into it. I think I might just leave it at that. But I think I actually really want to make a video on Baldur's Gate 3 when I finish it, and obviously I need to finish it before I can go and do that. But this game genuinely has sort of surprised me in so many ways and changed my perception of what I thought was the kind of game that I would like.
What you thought was a good game, right? You know,
yeah, well,
Last of Us,
as I've said,
you put Baldur's Gate.
You have openly admitted that you liked The Last of Us too. So
I did. Yeah.
Just get that on the record right there. No, I'm having a really, really good time with it. It's such a relaxing vibe compared to something like Halo. And again, you know, I love some Halo. I've waxed lyrical so many times about how I love Halo. But Baldur's Gate 3 is so chilled. And when I've needed kind of a chilled week, Baldur's Gate 3 has kind of just been like a really sort of lovely, cozy escape where I've been able to get lost in this stunning world with all this awesome storytelling and character building. And
do you
really
like the fact that you actually have to read things to figure out what to do? Do you like that, or does it really like stunt you sometimes?
I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. There have been a couple of times where I have genuinely been stumped. And largely that is because I've missed something that I've had to read and didn't find. But for the most part, like I've not felt I think with the exception of some combat scenarios where I've clearly not gone in with the right weaponry, or I need to go and upgrade my armor, or I might need to go and tweak some character skills to be adequately prepared for that encounter. For the most part, I've been all right, just sort of ticking along, learning from mistakes as well, because I think that is part of it. And I think Baldur's Gate, thankfully, is quite forgiving there, whereas when we compare that to something like the save system in Dragon's Dogma, sounds a lot less forgiving.
Yeah, so I wouldn't know because I don't really make mistakes, but I will say at the same time, so I'm just taking the piss. I made plenty of mistakes. I streamed it so people know this full well if they were watching. But
fucking
I also
Asa
got to
dies
say,
like 700 times.
Less than you though, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Deadly Headley is much better than me than Halo, so I'm not actually full of shit. He is actually much better at various games than I am. So I want to know though, when you're playing through Baldur's Gate 3, and I know you do tabletop Dungeons and Dragons a little bit as well, where on the morality compass, like the chaotic, good, neutral, lawful, all of that kind of stuff, where would you say you're sitting on your playthrough?
Generally playing a fairly good guy this time round, but I'm also sort of not beyond fucking someone up if I feel like they deserve it. Yeah, that's kind of where my moral compass is sat on that game. But I do want to go
neutral
back
good, probably neutral good.
Pretty much. I would like to go and do a Dark Urge playthrough. I'm going to have to. I want to start Act 1 again after I have finished my playthrough, so that I can go and capture some gameplay. And just I'm only going to show Act 1 in the. I don't even know if I'd call it a review. It's sort of partially a review, partially an opinion piece. I don't really want to give it a score. I kind of just want to talk about how brilliant it is and how it has changed my perception in a lot of ways of what I expect from an RPG. Because if we compare the depth and the scope and the choice and consequence system in Baldur's Gate 3 to something like Starfield, there is a gulf of difference, in my opinion, in what one lets you do and the other one doesn't. And Starfield, unfortunately, as much as I loved it and I really did think it was a great game, some of the choice and consequence options in that game didn't deliver in the same way as Baldur's Gate 3 did. And I'm really quite stunned by how far your choices go in Baldur's Gate.
I think we need to do less comparing Starfield against everything and more comparing Brotato against everything, and then we'll come away with a much fonder opinion of absolutely every other game ever released. Gamzly, you've played through Baldur's Gate 3. Tell me where you sat on that save.
Pinnacle. What?
On that
Say
same
what?
scale, where did you sit?
Chaotic evil.
Well, you actually, did you actually play through
I
evil?
killed everything. I killed a lot of things, Asa, that I probably shouldn't have killed. So yeah, I was very chaotic, but that was like my brother and I, like as I said, my family likes to play these games together, so we don't really do much of the reading and we don't rationalize as much when we're playing together. So when we sat there to make choices, we usually would go for like the easy choice, and the easy choice is be chaotic and kill everything, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's usually where that fell. So yeah, chaotic evil usually on that one. Which sucks because I was playing, I lost, think I think my character got all like most of his spells taken away because I fucked around a little bit too much with my morality, because I was supposed to be a cleric / paladin thing, and I
Mhm.
just
your
lost my
oath.
devotion, so I got fucked. But it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
We reloaded that shit.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's where
I
I
played it
sat with
kind of as a charming rogue. That was me.
Oh,
No
did you?
charm, no roguishness, just chaos.
Did
Not
you?
evil though, just chaotic
You backstab
neutral, if
things?
that's a real thing.
Did you just? Was that how
Oh,
you
no,
were
of course
playing?
I
Backstab?
didn't. No, there was no rogueness at all.
Oh
no
my god!
stealth.
Speaking of that, though, Asa, the rogue is legit ridiculously overpowered. Like if you had a rogue in your team and you go around stealing everything and backstabbing before combat, you could do massive damage before even starting a battle. It was really well done, rogue. Having a rogue in your party is exceptionally fun.
Astarion has clutched me out of quite a few scenarios. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, he's very good.
Mhm.
I didn't have any of them. No rogues, just mad skills all the way through. So
Just
brilliant.
madness all the way through.
You played the entire thing co-op, didn't you, Asa?
I did play the
Did you have
entire thing
any
co-op.
companions? As
One.
in any.
So I had two
okay.
people I was playing with. I had Isla that's there, and my wife was playing as well. And we had one companion that went along with us, which was started off. If I'm not even going to mention the characters particularly. Predominantly Karlak though for most of the playthrough. Yeah, and it was good. The co-op
that's awesome.
doesn't work as well as some of Larian's previous games did it. In that there's two ways that you can play co-op in that game. You can play it drop in, drop out, where someone just takes control of one of your characters for a little while, and that I'm sure works fine, but isn't really like what that game's strength leans towards. Or you can play a full campaign, pick it up like you would a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop, and have someone play it with you through the entirety of the campaign. But the way that it handles like the core story threads and things doesn't really distinguish between all of your characters as you play. So you're not telling your own story, you're telling like a shared story. And that means that I might want to be chaotic and evil and all the rest of it. But if the cutscene and decisions land on somebody else, then we might go a completely different direction to what I want.
Yeah,
And
it
rather than
totally-
having your own identity, it's just like shared and compressed together in a way that I was not a massive fan of, because their old games didn't do that. Their old games, you could have distinct identities and you'd roll against each other to see who kind of won out in that conversation. And it just felt better like that. But still a brilliant game. Not a massive criticism of it, just a minor.
And
Go on, Gamzly.
also in these types of games, which is always tough, is to kind of keep interest within the party of what you're doing with the characters they've built. So the real characters in the game, like in the camps, without like neglecting them. It's really hard to balance that, because we were a 4-man group at one point, and we got basically we got no story in the back. We would just ignore the camp. We just go with ourselves, and then you get to the camp, you're like, yeah, later, and then you rush it, and then it just disconnects you from the characters there. I wonder what they're gonna do with their next game. We know it's probably not going to be a Baldur's Gate game, but whatever game they choose to do within this style, I wonder how they balance that a little bit more to bring in the characters into light that you don't choose. But yeah, good game.
Yeah, next one might be a karting game. Who knows? All we know is they're not working with Wizards of the Coast to do another Dungeons and Dragons, so no more Baldur's Gate, like you say, and nothing in
Divinity
that
3.
vein. Could be Divinity 3. Could be a completely less fantasy-driven thing. I don't know. Maybe they've been doing those for a lot of years. Maybe they want to try something a little different, but who knows? They're a cool studio. I look forward to seeing whatever they've got cooking. Gamzly, you didn't play Baldur's Gate 3 this week. You played all kinds of other things. Tell us about them.
All kinds of other things.
Whatever you've been playing. Not over your shoulder checking.
It's just Final Fantasy 14 and Dragon Dogma 2, bro. I finished Dragon Dogma 2, which is nice. I didn't.
Did you finish 1 yet?
I didn't.
It was last week you finished 1, wasn't it?
I thought I said last week I finished 1. I was talking to Chronic in Discord about the choices, and I thought there was more choices, but I might be wrong because I didn't check up like what you have to do to get certain ends that you want. So I didn't check that up, and I asked him, and apparently there's less options than the first one, or it seems at least. So I'm kind of interested because I did stay through the main story a little bit more than I did with one. Like one, I really traveled around the map and kind of dug into it a lot. This one was weird. I didn't get that urge because I played them too close together and I had my fill of exploring. So I tried to stay on the main path a little bit more, and then I would like go somewhere if my pawn directed me, and then I'd go there and do that. I would say I was just around the right level to do the last boss because it was pretty challenging. I don't think I leveled up my stuff the way I should have. So I was a little bit, and my vocation, I went warrior. I stayed warrior. I stayed like shield and board the whole way. So I think that was a wrong choice as well. So it was a little rough for me to end the game, and I got the ending that I was like not that happy with. So I'm gonna play, but I'm actually happy with that because I get to play it over and open up my mind to the map more and go explore it more. And yeah, this game's gonna stick with me forever. I think I'm just gonna eat it like a good snack, like revisit it, take another vocation, and try to find things that I didn't find the first time around, or the second or the third. Yeah, I'm really
normally with a
impressed
snack.
with it,
Once you eat them, they're like through the digestive system. You don't go back to them in the same way. But I get what you're saying. You're going to snack on it more often.
Listen, you
did
little shit.
it hold
Do you crave
up?
chocolate after you have chocolate, Asa?
I don't re-eat it after I've already eaten it. If that chocolate has been eaten, I'm not touching it again if I can help it.
But you're gonna go get more of the same chocolate, right, Asa? God damn it! That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
You loved the game when we started, right? We've spoken about Dragon's Dogma 2 before, and you loved it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Did that hold true for the whole thing? Like, does it have peaks and troughs, or did you just love it start to finish?
Nah, man, I love that. I find it hard to critique it. I'm a little bit biased to the style of games, so I really find it hard to critique. Like, the only critiques that I could throw at it is that, the variety within the enemies can be better, right? Like, it just can. It was the same enemy layout, or mostly the same enemy layout in than the first one. For obvious reasons, it's very connected in that way, so you kind of know what to expect. But variety in what you fight, and I guess the other thing would be more consequence, for certain things, or at least tell me about it a little bit more. Treat it more like a real RPG or a real JRPG. Yeah, that's about it. That's what I could take away from that. Yeah,
And Deadly Headley, have you managed to start Dragon's Dogma 2 yet?
Not yet. I'm gonna pick it up when I finish Baldur's Gate 3. I can't, in good conscience, go and pick up a different fantasy RPG when I haven't actually finished the one I'm currently playing.
Yeah, no, that's a sound theory. That's what I should be doing more of. But I've got a few games, and Dragon's Dogma 2 is like there on pause because, like Gamzly, I've done too much Final Fantasy 14 as well. Gamzly, have you been playing Final Fantasy 14 with the Gaming Arcadia community?
You fucking piece of shit.
Oh.
I've been trying to play with you quite often, and I think I've been trying to play with Darge as well. If Darge is in the chat somewhere, me spamming, even Replicant sometimes. All you guys there. I see you trying to put this on me. Yes, I have been trying, but without any luck. So. But yeah, no, I love this game. I can't wait. Right now I'm level 35 with my Marauder. I am level 65 with my Conjurer, but that's with my brother. So I've been playing.
Is that
with
your
him
highest?
and
That's the
healing.
furthest you've got in the game.
No, my furthest was 70, but that account is long gone. Yeah.
Mhm.
That account was made when it first came out, and I just have no idea how to get it back. I've tried the system in
got
that.
two accounts in Black Hole somewhere. They didn't get anywhere, but the first two
Yeah.
times I tried it, Square Enix's account linking and all the rest of it is like, oh,
Yeah,
what are
it's a
you
little
doing?
weird. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little weird. I can't find it. I'm not really angry about it because I got my fill of it at that point in time. So I'm okay with resetting my character and chilling with some new people. I really want to do that with the community. I can't wait. Like, if we actually stay consistent with it, get to a certain level where we could actually, do a raid together or something like that, I feel like that's something special that we could build on and have a cool experience with the community. So I'm looking
Tell
forward
me,
to that.
for my own sake, but other people that have, like, the game obviously really recently came out on Xbox, so there might be some interest in how the game is actually structured when you get towards the end of it. How do you group up for a raid? How many people do you need, and what's the kind of dynamic there?
Oh my god, the raids, oh my god, if I remember correctly, I can't remember the raids that much. Like, I don't know the core dynamic. I'm pretty sure it was, oh my god, raid group. You know what? A quick Google search on that one.
You
because
Google that.
I'm
So the
sorry
reason I
can't give you that.
ask, no, that's all right. The reason I ask is because I've had various periods of
20,
World of Warcraft
12
that
and
I've played.
20. That sounds about right. 12 to 20.
Warcraft has had different spans of time where the raid community, like, when it was new and fresh, to do raiding, you had to commit like 4 days a week to a set group and kind of schedule it as a job. And over time, there's been a lot of flex in how they do that. And modern World of Warcraft, you can not know anybody and do the easy mode of the raids quite comfortably through the Finder and whatever. I don't know where Final Fantasy sits in that kind of scale of like how much do you have to commit if you want to get the most out of the game, basically, is what I'm getting at.
It's not that hardcore. It's more in the middle. It's more. It's their choice to go 12 to 20 is a much better choice than WoW, because WoW was what, 40 or something
started, yeah.
like, what was WoW? Vanilla WoW was around
Vanilla WoW was
40 or
40,
20.
and then it went to 25 and 10,
Yeah.
and then they went flexi raid, so you can actually tweak it, and they've introduced the
Yeah.
raid finder as well. So
I would say that it's a good size, and the content is very well known now. Like, the thing that made WoW super hard back then is that everybody was figuring out, There was no guide to it at the moment. For when we were playing it, we were the guides, basically. And you really had to go trial by fire and really understand what to do. But now, like, half of the raids in WoW, it was just getting to the raids. Attunement and getting the right gear took forever, and
full-time
understanding
job.
what to do. Yeah, exactly. Here, all the groundwork is done. All we gotta do is watch a tutorial. That's half of that done. Do the thing.
that's a lot.
I'm
I don't
guessing
do
it would-
guides, but
I'm guessing it's gonna do. It's the same. Get attuned, which through the story you get attuned. It will tell you. I've done it, so it will tell you what you need to do for the certain dungeons. It almost like you've done it right up till level 35.
the low
right?
dungeons do that, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. The low level dungeons do that, see you through, but it's very similar to the raids as well. So it'll get you to the point, and then you know what to do. You grab a group, you go in, and it's very similar to the low level dungeons, like structurally.
So what I was mostly getting at there is I wanted to know, for all the people that have just had the game release on Xbox, like, is it possible to play Final Fantasy 14, get a lot out of it without having to own a piss bottle by your computer or whatever? Good.
Yeah.
Good, then
Yes.
we've done the right thing
Yes.
taking it up.
Yeah, well, it is possible, but it gets very hard at a certain point. I remember it did get hard, but I mean, you don't we're not, as long as you're not strict and you know what I mean. We're not going for high
You're just
scores.
playing up for an SCW edit there, aren't you? That's all you're doing. We can hear it.
You can't. We're not going for leaderboards and stuff like that. So it's all fun, and we're not going to need to take pickpockets.
What we're going to do is read this super chat from me. Pete, thank you for that. He says, fuck you. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to read one of my favorite usernames that we have coming back. Fuck you. Needs to be a badger. Tell him. I can't tell people what to do, Pete, but yes, our memberships are really good. People should look into that if you can. And we've got the Discord server. Get in there, check it out. We do have a good time there, be it Final Fantasy or otherwise. It's never Final Fantasy, is it, Gamzly?
I have been playing another game.
Good.
And it has been Fallout 76.
Really? Okay, I'm not going to ask you about Fallout 76 because we're going to come back to Fallout as a TV series, and there's various initiatives that they're trying to use to leverage that and push Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 as well. So we'll touch on those a bit later, and we're going to loop around to the first of our actual topics now. We've been talking only about games so far, but that's my fault. It's not even a fault, right? Talking about games is way more interesting than company numbers and spreadsheets and marketing. So it is to me anyway. So we're always going to do a bit of that. And we're going to go straight on to our next game, which is Star Wars Outlaws. Outlaw or Outlaws? You play a singular outlaw, but I think it's plural anyway. Star Wars Outlaws.
I think it's Outlaws, yeah.
Ubisoft presented us with their story trailer. And Deadly Headley, you've seen it. What do you reckon?
Mm-hmm. I have. I'm excited. I think it looks really good. I was quite impressed to see how much how many references and callbacks we saw to like the original trilogy. Because I didn't realize that that's when it was set. I actually was quite impressed by the gameplay trailer that we saw. Was it last year? Was it last summer or the summer? It was last summer, wasn't it?
It was definitely last year.
Yeah. I was quite pleased with what we saw then. I'm less pleased with some of the ridiculous discourse that we've seen, but we don't need to go over that because it's pathetic. I think this game looks great, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Whether or not it's a day one for me yet, I'm not sure. Most Ubisoft games aren't day ones for me. And that's partly because I've already got too many things to play. But I am looking forward to checking this out for sure.
So when you say it's partly because you've got too many things to play, Ubisoft games obviously have a reputation for being somewhat bloated as well. So when you've got a lot to play, these are, or can be, massive time sinks. Is that your concern for this one?
You know what? I'm okay with this being Ubisofty, because I think the world, the intrigue, and the story is enough for me to look past the Ubisoftiness of it and actually sort of just enjoy the fact that there's a bit of free roaming, there's a little bit of checklisting. Yes, there's still that element of sort of decision paralysis to some degree, but actually, you know where that's really showing up right now? Every time I look at my Xbox hard drive, because I keep on uninstalling and installing new games, and just stressing myself out with all the other stuff that I want to play. Like Hellblade 1, because I need to finish it before number 2 comes out.
Brotato.
And Gears 4 and 5, because I want to finish those before we start then talking about Gears 6. And I don't know when I'm going to find the time.
And Brotato.
So, and Brotato. But we obviously haven't seen how egregiously Ubisofty Star Wars Outlaws is yet. But I think I'm okay with it. Again, you know, it's an assumption based on the fact that we haven't seen the size of the map. We haven't seen how littered the entire thing is probably going to be with icons and stuff like that. But I'm on board. I am looking forward to it.
Apparently we've got 18 questions in the Q&A box already, so I'm not sure how many we're going to be able to get to on today's show, but if you do have questions for us, no, Lila is lying to us. There are not 18. We need to get 18 to make that true. So if you want to put any questions in the box, then do them at the end of the show. We'll get to at least the best of them. Depends on how time is running, but we'll get to some of those questions. So,
fun fact about the questions, that is one of Black Viking's favourite parts about our show, which he referenced on the show that he did with Gamzly. He likes that very, very much.
Oh.
and credited you specifically, Asa, for doing it. Well, actually, Gamzly did. We probably weren't supposed to tell you that. But...
You fuckers. Never get the credit.
That's nice.
Just get all this
credit-
shit.
Please credit me for things that I actually do, because that's something that Isla does. I just sit back and occasionally say, put up a question. So I can't take any of the credit for the Q&A stuff, really.
Well, thank you, Isla, for being amazing. You should be here, you know.
I mean, we should be thanking.
Let's
Isla
kick out
anyway.
Asa.
But-
Let's kick
Yeah,
out Asa.
by all means. I mean, I press some buttons and make some things work. I'm slightly useful occasionally. But besides that, yeah. Star Wars Outlaws. So you're right, Deadly Headley, in that it is a Ubisoft game, and we haven't seen how the world is structured. And Avatar is not presented as a typical Ubisoft game. Like, they did learn things and start to move away from the icons everywhere, hopefully. So we'll obviously we'll see what that looks like when they get into the gameplay a little bit more. Funnily enough, last week on this show, I asked you both, which is your favourite setting, if you had to pick between sci-fi and high fantasy. And then my cheat answer was that Star Wars would be my, like, kind of blend setting where it's sci-fi with enough fantasy that you can still use swords and shit, because Star Wars is a really cool setting, isn't it? And the original film era that they're going for is peak for most people. At least most people our kind of age, I would say. Gamzly, tell me about this trailer. Tell me how you're feeling about Star Wars Outlaws.
Man, okay. So time and time again, I always talk about how I hate the checklist stuff, right? And how overwhelming it could be, and them telling you, you know, too much stuff. But worlds could make a difference to any opinion. I am super biased towards Star Wars. I'm so excited for this. It's just in the right era as well. It's in a good time period, with the Empire still in power and all that stuff. It's also going to be interesting because certain characters are alive. Actually, all the characters that are so intriguing to me are alive and well and around. And I can't wait to see them. I'm pretty sure Darth Maul at this time period is still around, and I'm very certain that he's hanging around with the people that we're fighting against. So it's a very interesting time period for me, so I can't wait to dive in. I could ignore the Ubisoft name when the Division people are behind it, because the Division people did do a great job, and that's who's making this game, right? What's their name? Someone remind me real quick.
It's Ubisoft Massive, but the gameplay trailer from the summer started playing, and it's immediately started off as a stealth game, and unless bad taste in my mouth. Very upset. Like, I'd forgotten this gameplay.
Yeah. So but you could pretty sure. Yeah, but Asa, this was to show off. Like,
this is just a player that happens to be a coward or a wanker. Like, they could be doing better.
But yeah, I can't wait, man. Just seeing this, like the Pikes. I believe this is they're the Pikes. But yeah, this syndicate is very intriguing to me, and again, who they're hanging out with intrigues me a lot. So I can't wait to dive in and see if we get to meet those people, or at least swindle with them. So yeah, it looks great. I'm super happy. These guys know what they're doing. The Division was one of the strongest UB games to ever come out, in my opinion, and I can't wait.
I'm really sad by the gameplay that I'm watching. I just want some explosions.
No,
do some exploding stuff.
No,
Come on.
They get to it. Just skip a little bit. They're gonna have like a speeder bike section. Oh, actually, right here, they're gonna start fighting. Here we go. Yeah.
They do more, yeah. And I'm optimistic. I'm still optimistic about the game overall. I just will not be engaging with the stealth mechanics myself. But it does raise, obviously, in Star Wars, you've got all these powerful Jedi and Sith all over the place. And this one, you're playing a smuggler, which leads to stealth gameplay potentially, which does make a lot of sense. You've not got force powers to help you dodge the laser blasters, so you've got to be a freaking coward instead. Deadly Headley, if you were like, what do you like the smuggler kind of story and setting? Obviously, it's very Han Solo-esque.
You know what? I've not given it a huge amount of thought, but you're right. Typically, when we talk about a Star Wars game, we think that we think about playing as a Jedi, and we think about playing with lightsabers and force powers, etc. And obviously, yeah, you're right. There isn't any of that.
There are explosions.
I think that itself actually adds quite an interesting dynamic, because I think while I really enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order, I haven't actually played Jedi Survivor yet. I'm waiting for it to come to Game Pass. But I did really enjoy that.
Oh, Survivor.
Not quite. Yeah, no, Survivor's not quite there yet. Slight diversion. I wanted to get to, Survivor, but I heard quite a lot of negativity about how it performed and how it was presented, and I just thought, you know what, I can wait. Like it's okay. I've got more than enough stuff to play, and it's going to show up on Game Pass within a year, and I'm all right waiting for it. Because again, there's too much to play anyway. I think the smuggling storyline here, the involvement with Han Solo, with Jabba the Hutt, they're things that have definitely pricked my ears up for sure. It's nice that we're getting to play sort of another story in the Star Wars universe that again sort of isn't Jedi themed. I think it's gonna be good.
On that point, I just want to butt in. On that point, why I freaking love it is because it does make you feel like a little smaller than other, let's say, Star Wars games. So you're not as powerful, right? Like Asa and you explained. But what I really can't wait for is to run in to those guys I think you're going to run into that do have lightsabers, and how panicked they can make you feel in those scenarios, because we never really had that feeling before of being like, what if I'm facing that guy and I have the gun, right? We never got that feeling before. So I'm really interested in what they can do with that angle. Do we run into, Darth Maul? Do we get scared? Let's go.
It's not massively dissimilar to the kind of paradigm in the first. In Jedi Fallen Order, everybody knows that Cal Kestis doesn't kill Darth Vader. So whenever he's involved in the plot, you've got that same kind of like, that's Mr. X from whatever he's called, the Resident Evil guy. Like, however they play this encounter out, you can't actually win, because that would be silly. So I guess you're going to have bits of that going on, because it would be weird if you kill a Sith or a Jedi as this particular character.
Yeah, that's for real. Well, I mean, because in this kind of era, you're running into Inquisitors and you're running into Jedi still. So whoever you're fighting doesn't have to be the big bad. It's going to be depending on how they present it to you, because there's moments in the Jedi games that you can't win, let's say, but that like they built it up to such perfection that it really did set a tone and get you scared, and it played into the gameplay. So we'll see. I'm excited to see if they could do something with that feeling in this game.
Do you know what? The one thing that does upset me, obviously there's the stealth. I don't like the little fluffy creature. And it's not that I hate little fluffy creatures, but it's that...
Of course you hate the fucking creatures. It's because I brought Brotato in here, huh?
Well, your potato did eventually get fluffy, yeah. It wasn't supposed to. But it's like every Star Wars thing has to have a little companion fluffball and or droid. And when I see that in this game, I don't know whether it's Ubisoft nailing the Star Wars like feel by copying it, or whether it's like a very imposing Disney saying this is what a Star Wars story looks like. You have to have a little fluff ball with this kind of like feature set that looks like every other little fluff ball in the Star Wars universe. It's not a major criticism. It's just that I do have this like Star Wars fatigue, because there is so much Star Wars. There's so much Star Wars, and I didn't want more Star Wars.
Asa, do you like Grogu?
Not really, no. Grogu was like, The Mandalorian was entertaining when it came on the scene, and it suffered for me just from being drawn out and being part of the too much Star Wars era. It suffered from being like intertwined with Boba Fett and all of that kind of stuff. There's just so much of it. So part of this is like, oh, it looks really good, but it is more of it. Yeah, you are. Because you love it. So
I'm leaving. See
you can't have too much Star Wars, right? Is your general feeling on it. And to be fair, like as with most things, all of my concerns will go away if it turns out to be a really freaking good game. Right? So it doesn't matter that it's Star Wars. If it turns out to be a really good game, I'm going to be all over it and I'm going to love it. But I do hate that little fluffball thing.
Yeah, this one, there's no fur on it, you coward. Isn't it? There's no fur on this one, right?
Yeah, there
in
is.
the trailers.
Is
Is
that a
there?
furry thing? Yeah.
I thought there was scaly. I thought it was scaly. Well, I'm wrong. Never mind.
I don't hate Grogu.
I
Grogu
take
was
all of
fun
it
in the
back.
first series. Mandalorian was fun in the
take it all
first
back.
series.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't wait. And for people in chat that's saying Darth Vader, that's not who I'm talking about. There's many other things that could get you scared, and you know, especially if you're a bounty hunter. But anyways, yeah, I think that's all I have to say on this. I'm super excited, guys, and I hope that it does perform a little better than both of the Jedi games when they came out, Survivor and the other
Yeah,
one.
I mean, Avatar was pretty strong on the consoles, right? And on PC. Wherever you played Avatar, it was a pretty stunning game. So high hopes for this one in terms of performance and like the technical front for it. Deadly Headley, did you have anything else you want to say on?
Yeah, I really like the diversity of gameplay that we're seeing on screen right now, because this is actually the first time that I've watched it since we saw this last year. But there's that mixture of
quick, I got to interject real quick. Just I'm going to pause this. Gamzly, you were kind of right. The creature is furry on the face and scaly on the head and back.
Ha ha! Kind of right. Thank you.
You're all right. Sorry, Deadly Headley, you carry on.
Yeah, the diversity of gameplay is quite interesting, and hopefully we see like a really broad mix of that in the final game. He is adorable.
Smiley picks up bastard.
I get what you mean about
why do they have to have him?
I get what you mean about it sort of almost being a little bit Disneyified in terms of because it now happens with every Star Wars iteration, whether it be a TV show or a movie or a game. There is a cute little companion, and there is something endearing about that. But at the same time, like I'm also very much in the camp for I want a gritty reboot of everything it's possible to do a gritty reboot for. But you're not, like, Disney's not gonna let that fly, really. They might do in future, but right now they seem to be very much in the camp of let's just make everything safe and a bit cuddly.
I think for me, I'm being negative for the sake of being negative and contrarian. Actually, everything about that game looked really, really good, apart from the stealth. I don't like the little floof creature, but the game looks amazing. There has been some discussion stirred up, and you can choose how much you want to address this or not, but the most expensive super digital doesn't include much edition. It's like 120 quid or maybe $160 or something. And some people take issue with that. I'm not actually sure where I stand on that. But do you have anything? Deadly Headley, you go. Anything that you think about
that? So I haven't looked at what actually comes with it, but I think generally games are getting very, very expensive, and it does sort of feel like we're being nickel and dimed a little bit more. But actually, I wanna give a shout out to Mag, middle-aged game guy, who co-hosts the XNC with Colt Eastwood. He's talked a number of times about how games are getting more and more expensive to make, and studios are finding new ways of getting that extra revenue out of you. So they might be selling the base game for 70 quid or $70, but the early access pass, the 3 days early access that seems to come with a lot of games now, costs about 30 quid. Boom, all of a sudden they've got $100 for the game that they haven't really put any extra work in terms of giving it to you early. They've just unlocked the game 3 days early for you. Same with like a DLC pass or something like that. Same with additional content and things like that. It seems to be just a way of squeezing a little bit more out of the player. And I sit in two camps for it, because I think from the creative studio that has brought you the work, they obviously need to get it funded. They obviously need to make their money back from that game, because that was a very expensive endeavor to deliver to you. But at the same time, as a consumer, I don't want to be charged more money. It's like, everything is already too expensive, and I'm not even just talking about video games. Food is getting more expensive. My mortgage is getting more expensive. All our bills are going up. The last thing I
My
want
potatoes.
is to be asked exactly. The last thing I want is to be asked to pay even more money for the thing that I enjoy, to escape from the fact that everything else is getting more and more expensive. Um, it's a really difficult line to walk. And I haven't looked at. In fact, Gamzly, while you give your thoughts, I am going to have a look at how egregious this.
It's $120.
The 120. Okay, what are you getting with that?
Digital content. So this is basically an increase. So in my opinion, just a quick shot. In my opinion, this is like those like deluxe editions or whatever. This is like their price increase of the deluxe edition to me. That's what it smells like to me. It's like they want to increase pricing of games so badly that they're starting to like marginally increase like deluxe editions to try to get more money that way. But that's just my small little,
So, Ultimate Edition, you have the base game, pre-order bonus, which is some cosmetic stuff, 3 days early access, which, as I said, is actually, it's a very easy, very effective way of a studio squeezing more money out of a player. And I can't even fault it that much, because I definitely took advantage of that with Starfield, because I wanted to play Starfield ASAP. I wasn't going to wait for it. I wanted the extra time on Starfield. I also wanted the DLC, and I actually really like how Xbox positioned that, because it was you pay this money, you can pay it 3 days early, but we're also going to give you the Shattered Space DLC, and you can buy into that upgrade and still get the game on Game Pass. So actually, I paid 25 quid to play Starfield early, get access to the DLC, and I'm already paying for Game Pass anyway. I've talked before how like Game Pass is basically just added to my list of utility bills, because it is my preferred way of playing games in 2024. It is easy, it is cheap, it is fun, and there's always something good for me to play on there. So logically, I was actually very happy with paying that little bit extra to play Starfield early, have the DLC. Like, that was a fair bargain for me. Whereas with Star Wars Outlaws, we're already looking at a full price game, and then on top of that, like I was saying, you've got the pre-order bonus, which is a cosmetic for your speeder and a cosmetic for your ship. 3 days early access, season pass content with 2 DLCs. So that's okay. That's a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, but you see,
more
these
cosmetic stuff,
deluxe,
more cosmetic stuff, and a digital art book.
This edition would usually be like the deluxe edition, like something else. Like at this price range, there'd be a physical element usually, not just a steelbook. They'd give you like, I don't fucking know, a tiny medallion or a statue, like a tiny statue or some shit. Like that's what this reminds me of, right? But it's a very big increase to the deluxe edition model to me, in my opinion. And I'm just like, I'll let you finish. Do you have much more to say?
No, I mean,
Go ahead.
so your standard edition on the Ubisoft store anyway is 60 quid, not 70. Your gold edition is then 3 days early access plus the season pass, which gives you 2 DLCs, and that's 95. That's quite a steep jump. It's a £35 jump. So if we took that as the same price model as Starfield, I'd be okay with it being 85. 95 is almost too close to 100 quid for me, and it just sort of feels a little bit too far. And then when you then add in what comes with the Ultimate Edition, which is retailing at 115 on Ubisoft's site in the UK, it's a lot of money for a video game. And I think separately there's an issue that I haven't pre-ordered a game in a really long time, because I've been let down by enough pre-orders to sort of not really want to do it anymore. The exception being Starfield, and actually I think I did. No, I didn't pre-order Baldur's Gate because there wasn't a way to. But I knew that I was going to buy that, and I knew that I was actually going to take the risk on whether or not I was going to like it, because at the time I still didn't know. As it turns out, I absolutely loved it, so that's okay. I don't know. It's a tricky one. What are your thoughts
on it?
on this?
So my thoughts on it are, I don't like it. I don't want to pay that much for a game. At the same time, we all know that these publishers are definitely going to try and get more money wherever they can. And if there is a way to distinguish between people that have just got too much money and ordinary people that you want to deliver your game to, and just fleece the ones that can afford it, I'm not necessarily against it. So this is not like the most egregious thing that I've ever seen. If this super digital deluxe edition costs like 500 quid, it's not leaving people behind. It's just like fleecing people that have got too much money. And I would rather, if publishers are going to look at how they can squeeze, and Phil Spencer talked about recently, when you've got an audience and you want to get more money out of them, you can really delve into quite manipulative practices to do that. If they can steer clear of that and just fleece the rich people without leaving behind the core audience, that's not actually the worst case scenario by any stretch. But I do think 3-day early access is one of those manipulative squeeze the actual audience FOMO kind of practices. I'm not a massive fan of it at all. So like I am torn on it, to be honest. I don't think it's by any means like the worst thing that we need to defend against within gaming at the moment or anything like that. I don't know. Torn, difficult. Go on, Gamzly.
Like at this price point, so for me it's 129 Canadian dollars, which is probably probably way less for you guys, but when I saw a price like that 5 years ago, it would, like I said, have something physical in it. There'd be physical media attached to the thing, and sometimes
or a collectible or something.
Well, that's what I've said, right? A statue, a mini statue, a coin, fucking, I don't know, a wallet, a watch, I don't know. That's what the mini deluxe editions used to be to us, right? That they give us something physical. And with this, I just feel like this is Ubisoft being like, well, we aren't Microsoft with this big platform. We aren't Nintendo. We aren't whatever, one of the big three, right? The big three are going into subscription services. Microsoft has a kind of a hold on subs there, right? People are getting things for free, and we choose to buy this license, which is probably a ridiculous amount for them, right? They're like, how do we nickel and dime as much as we can? AAA development is way high at the moment. How do we do this? And without like upping the main price, like upping that standard price. How do we do this? Because we know it's gonna backfire, but we need to. Like, I truly think they need to, or else they're gonna lose too much money on this. And this is their way. And I'm with Asa. I don't know how to feel about it because they're really going after those people that have like they're really going after the FOMO kind of thing. And I don't know, man. I have nothing really crazy to say about this. I'm just confused on what to do because it's a slippery slope. If this works for Ubisoft and works for a Star Wars game, right? Everybody's going to be like, "Oh, yeah, surely, our game that isn't a Ubisoft title and a Star Wars title could also do that." And then it just snowballs into something that might be harmful to literally everybody else, right? That's my thing with that. It's a very interesting slope.
Being very, very pedantic, I hope that if Microsoft keep on doing the whole 3-day early access thing like they did with Diablo and with Starfield and with Forza Horizon and typically all of their games, I hope they're forced to drop the day one on Game Pass moniker until they make it true again. Which is just like, it's petty, but if you're selling it to people openly on the market and then putting it on Game Pass 3 days later, it's day 3 on Game Pass. It just is.
Yeah. It's a really
Which
tough line to walk because, like, I think, like I said, I I think Microsoft have been quite clever in how they've managed to go around that because they're not making you pay for the full game. You are paying for the game by paying for Game Pass to a certain degree, but it's that FOMO that FOMO tax, for want of
Yep.
a better phrase, is so much more palatable when the full game is on Game Pass. But yeah, I agree with you. You can't in good conscience go, this comes out on this date on Game Pass when, like, literally, okay, we don't know the percentage, but a lot of people were playing Starfield 3 days early because that option was there. Like, Starfield was the talk of the town 3 days before it was actually due to come out.
It's one of those things, like,
and
if it was day 3 on Game Pass, it would still be a fantastic service. It wouldn't massively, like,
yeah,
devalue it. But don't lie to us. We can see what you're doing.
mm,
Right, let's move on
Yeah.
to Fallout. We're going to move on to Fallout. Gamzly, you spent most of the day doing your research on this, and by research, I mean watching the Fallout TV series, right?
Hell yeah,
Fallout
man.
TV
I'm on
series has
episode
landed.
5.
Episode 5. How many are there? Do you know?
8.
So the whole thing's dropped. Don't obviously give us plot points and things, but how are you finding it?
Okay. Wow. Okay. So when I watched episode 1, because I almost didn't believe some of the reviews coming out, right? I'm like everybody. I do like to peek at some reviews here and there. I usually go to like influencers first, kind of like, this podcast because we're amazing. No. I try to see what my friends think about it first as well. But I was looking around, I was like, oh my god,
Wait.
it can't be this good.
Just clarify. You didn't say that really the influencer thing, right? You retracted that immediately.
Yes.
Good. Just I just slightly tuned out, and then I was like, wait. Did he say what I think he said? No, he did walk it back. Okay, we're all right. Phew.
No. I usually go to my friends and then I go to reviews. That's okay. Yeah. So I usually look around at these things after I have like a solid person that I trust give me an opinion, and then I jump onto reviews just to look at them. And I was like, surely it can't be this good. So I jump on to episode 1. I'm telling you guys, that first fucking episode is super fire. It's the opening scene. I'm not gonna overhype it because it's not bombastic. It's not like fucking the best, oh my god, rip your hair out moment, streak naked on the fucking street moment. But it's
But we can if you
subtle.
want to.
It's yeah, it's a subtle beauty. It has a subtle beauty to it. Go watch it and you'll see what I mean by that. The acting is executed perfectly in those scenes in the first half. It is really good execution. The actor is amazing. The one that plays the ghoul is just so freaking fantastic. I mean, he's on fire in anything he plays. So surely he crushed the opening scene. It gave me instant FOMO, like not FOMO. It made me want to go play the other. It made me go want to revisit Fallout worlds because they are so old and because they have so much lineage and because they're so good. Like the media and the outcry these days and all the negative things, it kind of reminds me of Mass Effect. It's like one Mass Effect game and all of a sudden we think that, Mass Effect didn't exist before. It's like, no, Fallout and Mass Effect are, titles and big titles that like they are for a reason. This just made me want to go play and re-experience that world. I'm in Fallout 76 because of it. By episode 3, I was locked in. Episode 5 picks up in a big way. Episode 3 was the slowest to me. But there's just so much to love about this world. The one critique, and I want to pull a quote in a review. I won't name the podcast because I don't care about them that much. But I love you guys. They said that like this movie, this TV show as a TV show is like probably a 7, but as an adaptation, it's a 10. And I totally agree because there's moments in the I am talking good about it because I truly love the world and I love the games and it makes me like nostalgic to it. Um, but there are points that are a little weird, right? There are plot points that are a little bit weird. People might push back and say, well, it's supposed to be like that. You know, it's a little bit too gamey to me, like too coincidental to me at points, if that makes any sense. It's a very coincidental type of show. It's like, oh, they all so happen to be at this spot at this time doing this thing. And it's what we kind of like hit Star Wars for. Of like this universe is 5 billion years old, right? But everybody emerges at this one spot at this one planet type of thing. And that's what I'm feeling in the background, in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, it's a little bit too unbelievable at this moment. But like I said, as an adaptation, as thinking about it like a video game and just enjoying it for being a video game adaptation, you're gonna get a ton out of this world. Probably more than the other adaptation in the same style would be, The Last of Us. I'm not calling it out. The Last of Us is just a live action adaptation that I find very big and very strong.
You're also not allowed to compare the two because Destin Legary did that and he copped a bunch of shit for it, which was
I'm
not
not
necessarily warranted.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it in a way of I don't think it's a better show or anything like that. I'm saying comparatively, I think The Last of Us is a better standalone kind of show than this is, just by its writing and its storytelling. But as a video game adaptation, I think Fallout it does do a lot more than The Last of Us does. And that's all I could say about it. I know I jumbled up a little bit because it is very hard to put in the words to describe something when you're trying not to spoil it. But yeah, go watch this show, guys. You're gonna be pleasantly surprised if you're not. And for those that are like, well, I didn't like Fallout or I haven't experienced Fallout, the video game. So is this a good show for me? Like I said, it's a good show for you, and it might, since you're a gamer and you're in the sphere, if you watch this, you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is an interesting world. Oh my god, I would love to like kind of do what these people are doing, or experience that world in a different way. It's gonna push you through the games 100%. It's gonna push you through the games because it did with me, and I love it also.
And you are back on Fallout 76. We'll get to the games in a minute and how Microsoft are tying the two together, which they are to some degree. Deadly Headley, have you watched any of it?
I've only watched the first episode, but so far I'm really impressed with it. I'm Gamzly, I'm completely with you on the opening of the show. I thought it was very well written, very well directed. It tonally, the show just gets it so right, especially in those opening moments. The music beats in the background, I think that kind of tongue-in-cheek, almost sardonic kind of tone that Fallout delivers itself with, it just, the first moments of that first episode, they really do just nail the vibe and expectation. I think it feels kind of ominously cheerful in all the ways that you would expect sort of Fallout's kind of aesthetic that sits outside of the explorable game world. So and again, like I don't know Fallout super well, but I've always really admired and respected the sort of art style and kind of sense of humor, if you can call it humor, because I don't really think it is. It just sort of kind of like like a dark comedy almost sort of kind of vibe. And I think the opening of the show does a really nice job of that. The art direction and the set design of the vaults are absolutely stunning as well. I'm really impressed with just it's so good.
I wish.
The way it's delivered is just spectacular.
Oh
I'm
man,
very,
I
very
wish I
impressed with
could
it.
talk about that full first episode in much more detail with you, Deadly,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
like the first episode really does set the tone of this show very fucking well. And
Very,
the
very well.
problems that I have with it is just like it's just later on, a little bit later on, with outside ofose areas that I have a problem. But like
In
that
the
first
first
episode is
episode.
almost perfect. Is almost perfect.
The-
No,
so
like
the-
later on, like yeah, go ahead.
Later on in the series or later on in the first episode?
Later on in the series.
Okay,
Episode,
cool.
like, 3.
Because I think there were definitely some lulls in that first episode. But I think they're probably sort of building to something, and I need to continue with the show. But the characters that I've been introduced to so far, I like them a lot. I'm happy with it. I really am happy with it. It's nice that we've got another video game adaptation to talk about as well. You know, between the Last of Us show, the Halo show, which, you know, yes, it has some pros and cons. I would put it, you know, despite singing its praises on this show a lot because I did like the Halo show, I can't say that it is as highly rated as the Last of Us show or the Fallout show currently in good conscience, because they're not really operating on the same playing field. But I think Halo needs a little bit more time to get there, partly because of it clearly making some missteps in the first season, and I think it's still finding its feet as a show a little bit. Whereas Last of Us had not an easy ride, because I don't think that's fair, but it was following a very strong story and narrative that had already been set and was already appreciated. Fallout is obviously telling something. Is telling an original story, but I think I empathize with the complexities that 343 and Paramount would have to deal with for the Halo show, because the lore is so deep and so long-standing and kind of
It's hard to keep up with if you've never even played the game, like the director said. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So you said there, though, this is going back a little bit, you said that you're not that familiar with the Fallout games. So just quickly, what is your kind of exposure to the Fallout series before this TV show?
So the only Fallout game that I have played, and I did actually finish it, even though I modded the crap out of it, but I still finished it and really enjoyed the storyline, was Fallout 4. That's the only Fallout game I've played. I would like to go and play 3. But I'm gonna hang about, because I've heard fantastic things about 3, and I really would like to go and check it out. But I think, and I know we haven't fully had this confirmed, but you know, in the FTC leaks that we saw last year, there was potentially talk of Fallout 3 getting a remaster. Kind of tempted to just sort of hang about and see what happens with that. See if we get any confirmation of that, certainly within the next year or so. And you know, if it's still radio silent, and I've finally cleared my backlog, which
Deadly,
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Can I actually, and before you go, Asa, this is gonna be real quick. Deadly, play Fallout 3. Just
okay.
Because
ignore him. If there's a remaster coming, then
is it better than Brotato?
No, do it. Do it, Deadly. Deadly, just do it.
Don't.
Okay.
There's a charm to those. There's a charm to
if
those
they're remastering
games,
it, you don't play it now. It's terrible
timing.
timing.
Yes, you do. It's a great. Don't listen to Asa. There's a very beautiful like vibe that you get with playing it is like the way it is right now. Just play it.
I did really like Fallout 4. I did mod it. I did make it because I didn't want to spend a huge amount of time playing Fallout 4. Actually, my main reason for jumping back into Fallout 4 was because I wanted to play through a Bethesda game, sort of in kind of partially, I guess, in preparation for Starfield. Just sort of kind of wanted to put myself in that headspace and actually enjoy a Bethesda game, because I I always struggled to get into them. Like I said, hadn't really played a Fallout game before. Didn't really like Skyrim, and again, it is a game that I would really like to get into and would really like to put the time in. But again, with the backlog, easier said than done when more content is coming. I'm probably going to have a better chance just waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. Or the Oblivion remaster, which apparently is also on the way. So,
has the TV series for Fallout, like, obviously you've only just started it, but has it made you feel more inclined to go and do some Fallout? Because Microsoft, alongside this, Amazon right now, if you haven't already done it, you don't necessarily need to, because Fallout 76 is on Game Pass anyway. But if you want to have it owned in your digital library, they are giving away, with your Amazon Prime subscription, Fallout 76 on Xbox or PC. So you can go and redeem that right now. That's one of the things that they're doing to try and capitalize on the show, should it land well, which it seems that it is. And the other thing that they're doing is, in a couple of weeks' time, I think the 25th of this month, the Fallout 4 Series X, S, and PlayStation 5 native version will be released. So if it's on your agenda to get back to Fallout 4 and play that, you're going to be able to play it with nicer resolutions and frame rates, the kind of things that you would expect these consoles to be doing. So I don't know, is it working? Are they going to tip you towards that, Deadly Headley? And Gamzly, you can answer afterwards.
Fallout 4's next gen update, not particularly, but that's only because I finished Fallout 4. I'm
Quite
talking
recently.
days before I started Starfield, so I'm still fairly fresh on that. But it has got me curious about Fallout 76, because I keep on hearing things about 76 actually being quite good now. I think actually the only thing that would put me off with 76 is the fact that it's would you class it as an MMO? To MMO-ish?
So
Sort
it
of,
kind of
yeah.
is, but I'm going to get... So Gamzly has been playing it, so we'll ask him some questions on that in a moment.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, let's do that right now then. So Gamzly, it's already...
Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, are you on Fallout 76 as a result of the TV show, or did you already fancy dipping into that? Yes, so it's because of the TV show. So tell us about Fallout 76.
Yeah, so again, we like to forget how good Fallout is, or how good Bethesda is. Fallout is incredible in almost any way, except for, depends who you are stylistically. You might not like how it looks, but the systems in it are always awesome and fun to engage with. Yes, I am playing Fallout 76 because of the show, but I also wasn't deterred by Fallout 76 as much as everybody was on launch and onward. I always did really enjoy Fallout 76 because the way they were telling the stories and the way you interact with the world and how the world tells you the story. Their storytelling in Fallout 76 in data logs and finding new ways to tell you about the world without telling you about the world through quests of humans was quite interesting, and they had to be on their writing game. And I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on it, but their writing game and their chops really had to shine through, because they didn't have a NPC to be like, hey, dude, this is happening, and then cutscene, and fucking showing you the story like that. They had to tell you through environments, robots, and quest log, little data logs. And I think they succeeded in it, and I wanted to re-experience it, but it was in the back of my mind. The show popped up, hit me really good, and I was like, my god, this is Bethesda, this is Fallout, it feels like it. I'm gonna jump in. I was talking to Darge earlier about it, I was talking about it in our Discord to most people. It just got me going, and I jumped back in, and it's just awesome. I've said it before, I think it's the Elder Scrolls versus Elder Scrolls Online type of thing, where the main allure of the world is there. The storytelling is there. The combat system is a little different. In my opinion, 76 is serviceable. I'm missing the VATS. You don't have VATS, so I'm missing the VATS, but it is serviceable. In Elder Scrolls, it's more MMO'd. like more MMOified, like it's more closed in what you can do. Like you can't loot absolutely everything, right? But in Fallout 76, it is indeed like that. So everything that you think Fallout is in 76. The MMO kind of aspect comes in with the leveling stuff, and that kind of got a lot of people turned off. So in Fallout 76, the leveling system is what, to me, cock-blocked it, because there are very prominent, like, level gates, like, almost like an Assassin's Creed game nowadays, where you're like, well, this is level 79, forget going there, right? Or at least when I started to play, that was the case with 76. And in Fallout, like, I mean, you don't want to be discouraged from going around the corner. It wasn't really like that in the other games, that you're hard level gated, you know? In 76, it felt hard level gated at certain points, and that's what felt MMO-y like to me with Fallout 76. Everything else, though, is core Fallout, you know? Fallout 4, it has the building system, so if you don't like building, you probably won't like building now, but you don't have to really interact with it, you know? It's
So
not in
tell
your
me-
face all the time.
I have to ask, because Elder Scrolls Online started off as a paid game with subscription stuff going on, and then they hit a free-to-play model and kind of segmented off content behind various paywalls. Fallout 76 is not a free game. You can get it on Game Pass and you can redeem it from Amazon. Is it, once you get into it, do you find a lot is segmented behind paywalls and things, or have you kind of got the whole game once you get into it?
You have the whole game, but it's definitely pretty... If you don't like microtransactions, Asa, you're not going to like this game, because it does have certain things that are questionable, like, you know, experience gain and all that
Can't
shit.
believe you led with one of the worst ones.
Yeah, but that's why I knew that's
Yeah.
a big one, because it's just like, you know, the level gain. I'm pretty sure I saw glimpses, because it does bombard you. Like when you get into the game, you see the shop kind of highlighted, and it will pop up, like if you haven't played in a while, pop up some stuff like, oh, for, you know, 50% off this. And I thought in my head that I saw, like, don't quote me on it too hardcore yet, but I'm pretty sure experience gain is one of those things that I thought is a little weird and annoying. But let me
Like
go.
the
let me
equivalent of a
recheck
consumable
fact.
that makes you gain more while you're playing for a certain amount of time or something like that.
Something like that.
Vomit.
Let me go recheck it, but I'm pretty sure. There are certain things like that where I'm like, it's kind of weird, right? But it would make sense, because like I said with the Assassin's Creed thing, is that there are clear level gated enemies, right? Like if you go certain far this way, this bug's gonna be 80 and it's gonna kill you, you know? It feels like that sometimes. So yeah, it does really want you to play with friends as well, and it's clear that it does.
So,
But yeah,
no, so speaking of, like, just incidentally, on the whole microtransactions front and how much they do put me off games, I opened Battle.net, so Blizzard's launcher, the other day. They had their sale on, and front and center on their sale was like, look at this great World of Warcraft Pets pack. It's only 60 quid instead of 154 quid for a bunch of pets. I was sick in my mouth. That's a game that you buy the expansions for, and you subscribe to, and you want to sell £154 package of pets. Like, get fucked. That's my kind of, that's how microtransactions make me feel. And I said earlier about, like, by all means fleece the rich. Don't wave it in front of my face. I'm not rich. Get out of here. Like, it's horrible. It's gross. Disgusting way to monetize the game. Anyway, smoothly tying topics together, because there's a mini topic that you put in as well around the success of Elder Scrolls Online. So Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online have this in common. They both had launches where they were not necessarily that well received, because Bethesda are Bethesda, and they have the reputation that they still carry for fantastic single player RPGs. They released these two essentially live service games, but in the way that people curse the word live service. So they got a lot of stick at the release of both games. A lot of people were very disappointed that it wasn't the single player games they were hoping for. But your little note here says 2 billion in revenue for Elder Scrolls Online, so it's a massive success for them now. Have they turned that game around? Is Fallout 76 in the same boat? Tie these topics together and then we can move on.
Yeah, look, so like that's why I compared them in the first place, because both fan bases have like a similar attitude towards like their counterparts in the MMO worlds, right? Like one side are the hardcore that want like a genuine, whatever, I put that in quote, genuine Elder Scrolls or a genuine Fallout thing, what they perceive as a genuine experience in those games. And then the other camp are actually MMO guys that do or have experienced an MMO before and have played those games and they kind of battle it out. But I think that when it comes down to it, both games are not bad games. I'm going to just say it. 76 is not a bad game. We give it shit. Is it a bad Fallout game? It's even debatable if it's a bad Fallout game. It has the storytelling. They've added so much content. The world feels way more alive than it did or ever has. The community supported it all the way through, so it can't be that bad. Same goes for Elder Scrolls. We saw it as like, oh my god, this might be a failure type thing. Nobody's playing it, but like the MMO community are playing it because it's a good freaking MMO. Just like Fallout is a good in-between Fallout MMO game. It's just, that's the reality. And that's why they always put it in our face. That's why it's in showcases. It's because there's a hardcore audience. And honestly, I think enough time has passed to understand what it is. And if you jump back into it with the right mind, you might get a lot more enjoyment out of it. So you guys should try.
So ZeniMax Online and Bethesda in general have obviously got the hang of supporting an MMO, a proper live service game within these properties. So their Starfield MMO is surely going to land better, isn't it? Sorry, their sci-fi MMO is going to land better, isn't it?
Do they have a sci-fi MMO coming out?
It's been for a long before Starfield was even announced. They said that their next MMO was a new sci-fi property that we hadn't seen yet.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So if it's not
Asa,
Starfield, I'll be very surprised.
You know me. If
MMO, by the way.
oh my god, you know me. Asa, like, if anything, Starfield plays more like an MMO than any of those games because of all the instance traveling and all the like cutscene, like the loading screens and all that stuff. It's very HUD-y. You just go in your menus and you play it like that. It's very I guess it would be easy to transfer that into an MMO, but definitely don't want that. But I wouldn't.
Honestly,
I mean,
Starfield with friends would be nice. I'd be up for that.
Like co-op,
quite
like
that
4
experience.
players just fuck around type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, not like full.
Not
MMO,
built.
MMO.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I've said, Elder Scrolls is built way more like a MMO than its predecessors, right? It is very much built like an MMO. You only know what that feels like if you play it. You know? So we definitely don't want the MMO feel to leak into a Starfield, but I definitely would love untethered fun with friends on my ship, for sure.
Okay, good. So, do you know who else makes MMOs? Blizzard.
Oh god.
And they used to be able to distribute them in China through their partner NetEase, where they had millions of people playing World of Warcraft and StarCraft and whatever else they distribute over there. And that partnership went away and surely hurt Blizzard for a very long time, until approximately yesterday, when it was announced that Blizzard and, by extension, Microsoft and Xbox and Activision have renewed that contract with NetEase, so they can distribute their games in China, and certain NetEase properties may come to Xbox. Deadly Headley, have you seen this piece of news? Does it excite you?
I have seen this piece of news. I think for me personally, it doesn't do a lot to not being much of a Blizzard player, but for those in China who have not been able to enjoy the games that they once could, good for them. There's really good news. I think it's a really strong move for Xbox. I think it's a very good look for Xbox to go, hey, those barriers that somebody else had erected, but clearly a lot of people weren't necessarily happy with them. We're taking them back down. You're welcome. I think it's a nice, strong power move that makes Xbox look like the good guys. And let's be honest, they need all the positive PR they can get.
Yep.
Gamzly,
Yeah.
what's your favourite NetEase game? No, sorry. Any topic however you want.
Oh man, NetEase. Oh wait a second, NetEase. I'm pretty sure I have one in mind. Hold on, is it NetEase? I have to fucking.
Not that in mind. That's the internet. You can't claim that as your mind. That's Google.
No, it is my mind. It is my mind. It's Naraka. Is it Naraka? Naraka Blade Point, right? That's a NetEase game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
don't we already have that?
Yes. So yeah. No. Well, what I mean is like NetEase knows what they're doing. They even did like, oh, they're doing the Marvel thing too, right? Like, is that NetEase?
Marvel thing.
Yeah.
The Marvel like
Overwatch Marvel
thing.
hero thing.
Yeah. So NetEase, yeah, NetEase seems to know what they're doing when it comes to like, you know, publishing these games. They had a lot of success in the past with multiple titles. So partnering back with them is strong. It's a strong move to kind of get those players back. It's good for the ecosystem. I mean, more players playing and spending is good for Xbox, and it's also good for the service games that they provide, right? Like, we need a lot of people playing these games to have fun with it, right? You need a lot of people in WoW to have fun with WoW. You need a lot of people in Hearthstone to have fun with Hearthstone. All these games are gigantic and rely on players to be playing them. So the more players, the better for us and better for Xbox in general. So I'm super happy for this, and good on them for repairing all that bullshit. And like Deadly says, good news for Xbox, and that's what, 2 days straight? 2 days. Like 2 days straight, guys.
Record.
Good news for Xbox, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Dread tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow we're all dead. Xbox is doomed tomorrow, guys. Don't worry.
It's got to ride the roller coaster, you know. You can't just stay high the whole time. Got to dip it. I've got nothing else to say on the NetEase one. Like, obviously, there's nothing bad about it. I don't think we have a single viewer or listener on YouTube or Spotify or all the rest of it that is actually in China that is going to directly benefit from getting access to these games again. But it's definitely not a bad thing, and at the very least, I'm sure Microsoft will be able to tout some increased subscriber numbers for World of Warcraft or whatever else is going to help them out. Definitely nothing bad about it as far as I can tell. So, let's move on to the next topic. This week, I can't remember how it was confirmed actually. It was via Sarah Bond, but I can't remember if it was a leaked memo or if she confirmed it publicly. But they reassembled the Xbox backward compatibility team, forward-looking, for the sake of compatibility with whatever paradigms the gaming industry has ahead of it. So, Deadly Headley, any theories on what's going on at Xbox and the Back-Compat team in particular?
A couple. I think the safe one is, I really hope that the backwards compatibility gets expanded out a little bit so that those games that haven't been covered off or have made their way off the Xbox store can make their way back. There is one specific game that I've been desperate to play again, and I can't buy a digital version of it, which is Fear from the Xbox 360. I can get Fear 2. I can't get the original one.
So that's unfortunately not a likely one. So the Back-Compat program, the first time it was shut down, they shut it down because they said they had exhausted everything they can do in terms of licensing and publishing. So it wasn't a technical limitation. It was more so that there were no games that they were allowed to bring into the service. And the only thing that's significantly changed since then is obviously they've got Activision. So any blockages that Activision put up have obviously been taken down. But it's not necessarily the reason that they've formed a team. I mean, my theory, I just put it out there straight away. My theory is that they're prepping for ARM and cloud. So the x86 architecture of the current Xbox and the hardware that it's got with AMD, all of that kind of stuff that they've put a lot of work in to get these games working for, might not necessarily be the hardware of the future. So a Back-Compat team may be called upon for whatever hardware is coming soon. But yeah, I hope you get your fear one way or another. Gamzly, Back-Compat, what are you hoping for? What do you think's going on at Xbox?
Oh, I mean, this has to be some sort of ABK integration thing too, right? Like it must be they're trying to get some Transformers back over here, right? Or something like that into Game Pass or some sort of thing. I think the majority of ABK games are probably being focused on here. I think that's where the large amount of, that's my only thing that's buzzing right now, is that how are we going to make everything in that catalog playable on the Xboxes of the future and this Xbox. I think that's what the core team is probably focusing on. But yeah, this is exciting news because I think that the mindset moving forward is that the next device and the next device and the next device is going to be safe, and our libraries are just going to grow and grow and grow. That's what this says to me, that the next devices are going to have a hell of a lot to play on day one, without new releases, and we know that people like playing old games, so good for us, I guess.
The emphasis on
preservation,
forwards
preserving those,
is
exactly.
interesting.
Yeah, and also just having our library safe is always nice.
Yeah, and obviously they've said that the next Xbox hardware is like the biggest technological leap we've seen, and it would be nice if they can apply that technological leap to the stuff that's already in the Back-Compat catalog, as well as anything new, right? Headley, what were you saying?
I think no, it's gone. It's gone. Don't worry about it. No, it's gone.
At least you look good.
Happens that fast, guys.
At least you look great.
Thanks.
Fair enough. Happens to us all. That's not a problem. So, next on the list, another Xbox team. The Coalition have now formally got a LED dedicated team running around Xbox studios, helping them with the Unreal Engine. Gamzly, that means that every game is going to be 60 frames per second, a million resolution.
No.
With nostril hairs, right?
Definitely not. No. I think all Unreal 5 engine games, I think they would have benefited from this move. They probably did a little bit. I don't know if they've sent anyone to Ninja Theory to help. I actually don't know. But the future Hellblades might look brighter. That's for sure, because those guys are amazing and they're wizards at this stuff, and that's why they got a team going around helping. So good for oh god, I almost died. Jesus, I'm sorry. That was awkward. Cut that out, please. We're live. Oh no, I'm burning.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah, having that team running around and helping the studios, it's a big thing, and it's what every, big publisher needs. They need good support teams. Nixis comes to mind for PlayStation, porting their stuff on like PC and all that stuff. A good support team is needed, especially. Huh?
Sony always had internally their ICE team, and I can't remember what it stands for. But similar, going around helping various studios with technical accomplishments.
But that's awesome, because I'm pretty sure moving forward, we'd like to think that a lot of Xbox games are probably going to be Unreal 5, and we've seen it before. People, speculation about 343 jumping or whatever. That's true or not, doesn't matter, but a lot of Xbox games are probably going to be UE5. So having them running around helping their teams, it's a big plus for Xbox. So hopefully it bears fruit.
Yeah, so I reckon the Coalition have always had this role at Microsoft of helping other studios, whether it was Unreal or not, because they are tech wizards and they have always gone around. I think the biggest change at Microsoft is obviously it used to be a lot easier to send people out to help other studios with their work when Microsoft had 3 studios or something. but they've got like 34 or whatever it is now. So I think it's more of an organizational change just to dedicate a bit more resource because there is more work to be done on that front now. Microsoft obviously have Coalition are wizards with Unreal Engine 5. They've got Turn 10 and the Forza Tech engine that are surely helping out wherever they can there as well. And you've obviously got id Tech, who are also absolute wizards with technology. So you'd hope that when they bring all these studios together, like collaboration has to be a part of that. So this leans towards it and hopefully means, very technically accomplished games going forwards. Deadly Headley, I don't know. You got anything you want to say about Unreal Engine 5, the Coalition work that needs to be done?
So I think generally very good news that the Coalition are sort of getting the support that they need, and the sort of, I think Microsoft is sort of using their resources effectively to support everybody else on Unreal Engine 5. I think I'm kind of I think my expectations of Unreal Engine 5 on Xbox Series X and S hardware is sort of tempered a little bit based on sort of expectation versus reality in terms of how we're seeing Hellblade 2 shaping up, which, I'm excited about, but we talked about the frame rate and potentially some of the challenges that come with working with higher fidelity assets, and there's this constant sort of battle and demand for more fidelity, more everything in our games, but also please make sure that it runs at 60 FPS. And the reality is that it's not always easy to sort of marry both expectations up. But we do know that the Coalition are wizards and geniuses with their tools. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if I could, Asa, just one more little thing. To give credit to all platforms. I mean, PlayStation is so good at giving options in their games. We talk about it a lot. But that's also because, their teams are very heavily experienced in those engines and understand them, and they really do take the time with it. And so I hope that, just like id on the Microsoft side, they could kind of spread the love to the other studios that might need the experience or some help, maybe manpower, whatever it is. It goes a long way to have a team behind you to kind of prop you up when you need and get over that hump you're trying to accomplish. So man, let's just hope that we see some id level, frames dropping.
It's going to be,
that game is
just
crazy.
needs one person to pop around office by office and just press the optimize button in Unreal Engine 5. Optimize.
Just
Job
press
done.
it
Moving
for like
on.
6
Everyone
years.
keeps forgetting it. It's just...
For like 6 years.
Right. Gamzly, you put together a document of topics. I'm dying now, so I want you to pick up that document and run through. Now I'm good, but run through the highlights, the things that you want to cover on there, and then we'll get our questions.
Okay, well, let's pop off with, let's just jumble them like we did last year, and if the chat wants to kind of wants us to run over something, maybe they could be vocal about it. Let's see. The III Conference of Games thing happened. There was many games that dropped, so I'm gonna list a lot of them to the audience, and maybe if they're interested in one of them, we could pop on a trailer because we have the trailers here. So we got updates for a game called Kill Knight. Kill Knight looks awesome. Brotato DLC. Prince of Persia is like a Dead Cells. It made from the Dead Cells people. So that's an interesting one for me, Asa. Can we actually pop that on and let them see that one? Can we do that?
Prince of Persia?
Prince of Persia, yeah.
The Rogue something. Yeah, it's coming. That is playing right now for you, Gamzly.
All right, that's playing for you. So this game is really intriguing to me because Dead Cells, I'm a rogue like 2D type of person nowadays. If that intrigues you, this game looks incredible. It's basically Prince of Persia, but Dead Cells, like in all ways. The art style is a little weird to me, but it has the Dead Cells kind of flair. It has that satisfying pop when the enemies die. It has loot and it operates the same exact way, but with a skin of Prince of Persia on it. And we need more Prince of Persia because I think that game is heavily underlooked and sadly having a lot of problems. So this deserves your attention. It's getting some previews, so if you want to go hop on to your favorite YouTuber or something to check the preview out, I'm pretty sure Kind of Funny does one too, had one. So go check it out, hear those guys out, see what you like about it. So yeah, that's Prince of Persia, the Rogue Prince. There's also Slay the Spire 2, which Slay the Spire 1 was awesome. Have you guys played Slay the Spire?
No.
Not really, tiny bit. No, I didn't. I can't remember anything about it.
Oh my god, Slay the Spire, it was oh my god. It was when the frick did this come out? It came out, I can't remember when it came out. My god, I'm so sorry. Slay the Spire, it was a roguelike kind of card game, if I'm not mistaken. I played it a lot, also on Game Pass. I played it a lot, but couldn't get past like the second boss, and I kind of just dropped it. It's very difficult. If you like card games, it's a great mix. Then we have Pal World Arena announcement. Did you see this?
I've read it. Apparently, this is quite a vague announcement. It is content that is coming to mainline Pal World, which they can hold off on. Slow down, give me the cross-server support, and then we'll look at new content.
Yes, the Pal World Arena, it's like this super cool PvP mode. So think about a boss fight in Pal World. It's basically you and your friends battling it out in that type of arena. So looks fun, looks chaotic as fuck. I'm all in for it. So yeah, if you want to pop that up for everybody to see, that would be too.
Oh, but it's a 16-second trailer, Gamzly. I'm going to put it up, but it's a little bit awkward.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. They could check it. Hyperlight Breaker. If you ever played Hyperlight Drifter, I mean, that game was awesome. Kind of Zelda-like action adventure game, but this time in 3D. So very nice looking game. Wizards of Legends 2. This is one of my personal favorite games of the year. It came out. Wizards of Legends is like this co-op kind of dungeon brawling roguelike game that you're wizards and you can combine different magics together to make super spells and blow up enemies. Very cool stuff. Takes a lot of skill too, so if you think it's easy and you know you're wrong, you need a little bit of skill to play this game. So if you want challenge, Wizards of Legends 2. 33 Immortals also got the official release date. I don't know if that was the special thing about this. It's coming to Game Pass as well. The release date, stupidly, I did not put on the doc, so I'm just going to fast forward here. What's the release date? May 24th on Xbox Game Pass. 33 Immortals looks awesome as well, so go check that out.
It's fairly soon. I'll come around in no time.
Yeah,
it's also scary how close we are to showcase season, by the way. Like it's effectively mid-April. It's coming around quick.
So we got those are the games I want to kind of shout out from that conference. It was really, really well paced. It had a lot of good stuff there. So go check it out. Triple I believe. If I'm missing a game, those are the ones that I wrote down because I really had a interest with them, so I wrote that down and put the trailers up. Okay, so that's the Triple I conference. Brotato is the biggest thing there. Just go get Brotato.
Don't bother.
Fallout 4, we talked about that. Remnant 2 DLC, The Forgotten Kingdom. That also looks awesome. I have a link here for the YouTube as well if you want people. If we have Remnant fans.
We have people in chat that are massive
Discord.
Remnant fans. We've definitely got them in the Discord. That game has sucked up so much of people's time. It's constantly seeing that one streamed between various people going at it because there's just so much in it. It's it's nice to see a game like that has that model of you buy it and you've got a lot of content that you can explore in your own time. They're not necessarily constantly adding more. It's not a live service game by any stretch. It is a self-contained game with a lot to do and a lot to find and discover. But now there is a proper traditional DLC pack coming for it that was announced today. So if you love Remnant 2, you'll presumably love the DLC as well.
Yeah, so just to shout out Slay the Spire, because maybe I was confused. I was thinking Slay the Spire and Darkest Dungeon, which also Darkest Dungeon 2 got some really good praise. They're very good games. I get them confused a lot, but I was right. I on this one. Slay the Spire is a card game. It's a roguelike card game. So you move along waves of enemies and you use up your hand and your life will go down and blah blah blah. It's typical. It's very interesting. Go play it if you have a hard time thinking it. I'm not doing it justice. Go look at a trailer. Slay the Spire demands your attention. Is there anything else on my doc here that I want to bring up? Mist of Pandaria WoW event. We'll keep that away for now. It's not really that big because nobody cares about pandas. Let's just wipe that under the rug. Yeah. I think we're good. If chat wants us to go deeper into one of these games or one of these things, I'm in for it. If not, we could go to the Q&A.
Yeah, so Deadly Headley, before we do the Q&A, were there any topics that we didn't cover that you wanted to cram into the show?
No, I think we covered them actually. Yeah, no, good. Let's take some questions.
No time for questions. It's 10. No, we do a few questions. This one can run a tiny bit longer. It's okay. We'll do that. We'll get some of them in. So, first question is from the Darge Knight. Yes, sexy boys. With Xbox working on a majority of games in Unreal Engine 5, I just wonder what the panel's opinion is if all of those games come out at 30 frames per second because of the demands of the engine. Thanks. Kiss, kiss, kiss from the Darge Knight. Darge, we spoke about this yesterday, so I'm going to not answer this one for you because I know that you don't intend it for me. Deadly Headley, is the future of Xbox Series X 30 frames per second?
I don't think it's as cut and dry as that, but I think we can definitely expect more 30 frames per second games than probably a lot of the fan base would like to. But I think it goes back to what I said last week. Really, the most important thing that I feel players should be offered is choice. I understand that there are complications in developing a game that can run at both 30 and 60 and give the players those choices because there are sacrifices that need to be made. And I think with a game like Hellblade, when the focus is on fidelity, yes, I can understand and respect why the studio may not necessarily want to sacrifice that fidelity in order to satiate a 60 frames per second appetite. But I also don't think that should be down to the studio entirely because the player should have that choice. And if the console truly did operate like a PC, a player would have more agency over how they play their games versus something that is far more locked off like a console. I will be disappointed if we just stop getting 60 frames per second games. But I don't think that's going to happen. I actually think that, and I might be eating my words on this, I might be completely wrong on this, but I think that Xbox or the majority of games moving to UE5 does potentially open up the opportunity for better optimized games, but other sacrifices will have to be made. So when they're doing crazy things with textures and lighting, etc., some of the demos that we saw with Unreal Engine 5 were sort of showing how you could achieve all of that fidelity and optimize it in such a way that it could run at 60. But the reality just sort of isn't there. And I'd like it to be, but it's not.
Gamzly.
Oh yeah, Darge, shout out to you, man. You're awesome. Yeah, just I can't wait to play my UE5 engine games on my Steam Deck at a steady 30 and really enjoy and go forth with my gaming adventures. Anyways,
What does the future hold, though? Is it a 30 frames per second Xbox console now?
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No, honestly, no, but for real, like I'm teasing Darge. The 30 FPS, I think we can expect to get a variety of different, like different companies and different engines will produce different things in different time frames. I mean, it all depends on how much time frame does the studio have, how much experience does it have, what engine are they using? And I think the majority of games right now are 60. It's just the triple A big budget games sometimes fall to the wayside. But yeah, I think the standard is 60. It's just consoles like the Series S might have a hard time hitting 60 all the time.
Yeah, so the Unreal Engine 5 that scares so many people because certain games have launched at 30 frames per second and have pushed the envelope and kind of struggled. You have to remember Unreal Engine 5 can do a 60 frames per second game on a mobile phone if that's what the developer chooses to do with that engine and the features that they choose to use on it. So it is not the case that this engine has doomed us to 30 frames per second. It is very much a case that development studios are making decisions on what they want to deliver. So if they want to make a game that performs and looks like Gears of War 5 did, and they want to carry on that kind of, like, this is the fidelity we're shooting for and we want it to perform and play really well, they can do that in Unreal Engine 5. So I don't think it is a massive concern at all. Some developers are going to choose to go the route of Hellblade and really push as much lighting and atmosphere as they can. And I still think... Go on.
So sorry, I was going to say the exact... I still think the 60 FPS, it will... Like, that engine, so Unreal 5, once people start to actually get going with it, because not a ton have yet, I think they will, like, the majority of things will be able to hit 60 consistently for a long time. But
I honestly think that will be the more popular developer choice going forwards, because it does feel better in most scenarios. So I do think the 30s are going to remain kind of the exception, and like not unheard of by any stretch, but I think most games on that engine will actually land with modes for 60 frames per second. It's just one of those things that if you want to do Nanite and Lumin and the world geometry thing that it does and MetaHuman and like everything, all the bells and whistles that this thing can do, there is a massive performance hit, and you can't push all of that on this hardware at a high frame rate, but you don't need to push all of that. It can do all of the lighting models, all of the texture streaming, all of the modeling that the previous version of the engine could do if that's what you want to shoot for. And a lot of developers are going to shoot for that so that we have a game that feels good. Next question is up. It is on Steam Deck, yes. Episode 13. What game should be adapted into a TV series next? Your view and what would make sense and work. So, Deadly Headley, you get the short straw, which is no time to think about your answer. What game do you want to see as a TV show?
I like this question a lot, and I had a little bit of time to think about my answer. The first one I got to sit on for a little bit. The second one, which is far more impulsive, and actually only came up with it as you asked me. I'm going to give you that one first. I would really like to see specifically Far Cry 3 made into a TV show, because I thought that was a fantastic game. And my other answer would be, and I know we've had the anime, which I still need to watch, but I would quite like to see Cyberpunk 2077 get made into like a proper sort of full-on gritty TV show. I think that'd be really cool.
Fair enough. Gamzly.
Oh my goodness. After seeing Fallout, I would have hesitated on this because I think it's really hard to do these things. But I'm gonna go with Elden Ring.
I like
Does
that.
that qualify?
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
I would go with Elden Ring, and I wouldn't have went there before because I think Elden Ring, I mean, it's not known for its story at all, but I think like either is like Fallout. I think we can get interesting with Elden Ring stuff. Game of Thrones type like storytelling. get visceral with it. Yeah, I think we could have fun with that.
Fair enough.
How about
My
you,
answer
Adrian?
is Star Wars Outlaws. I reckon you could take that word and you can make a pretty decent movie or TV
I
show or
hate
something
you.
like that. Star
No,
Wars
you
is
can't. We
gonna-
can't
yeah.
make him get away with
So,
this. No, we can't.
next
no,
question,
no,
please.
Nope, not gonna do it. Nope.
We are
By the
moving
way, hit the
on.
like button. Hit the
Do
like
hit the
button.
like
We
button.
get 2 likes. We make him answer that properly.
Right, the next question. It says it's from Isla, but they're not normally. It says, how do you feel? Oh, okay, no, this is an actual Isla question. How do you feel about Xbox achievements? Some of mine were randomly showing up in French today. I'm not going to speak French because I've got a cold and the accent will come out all wrong. But Gamzly, you're from Canada.
Yes. First off, yes, I am.
There's some points now. Let's just answer the question. How do you feel about Xbox achievements?
Yeah. I don't quite. I think I've answered this like 700 times, but I'll try to go a different angle. I think when they, my God, the achievement system on Xbox at the moment as it exists right now, I don't like it, and I rather it not exist.
Oh, controversial. Not exist at all. Just take them little blings up.
As it stands
off.
right now, the way it is, I rather it not exist and them build something else. Yeah.
What would you change about it?
Everything. I just don't like what the developers are doing with it. Like I don't like the structure of it anymore. You know, I don't like how developers are using it. And I rather Xbox achievements like in the 360 days. It's going to be a long answer if I go deep into it, but
No,
my
we all
stance
know
was
the correct answer. Don't give us 10 points, give us £10 and we'll love the achievement system. Until then, it's just there making little noises. Deadly Headley, do you like achievements?
I hate you.
You don't.
I personally am quite indifferent to achievements. I liked the fact that they came to the Xbox 360. Like I remember that being quite a big deal, and it just sort of being a thing that kind of just motivated gamers, and I remember approving of it at the time. But I've said on the show before, I don't really like the obligation and the pressure that comes with achievements. I've never really been like an achievement completionist. I feel happy if I have 100%ed a game organically, but I don't go out of my way to 100% a game. Unless I feel like I really, really want to. And again, you just sort of, I don't know, it doesn't come organically. I would have to make myself want to go and do that and then actually follow it through, which is a whole different ballgame.
Pokemon farming is exactly what they did. Either they were a good and a bad thing when they launched, in that they were quite an ingenious way to tie your time together and kind of reward you for playing a load of different games, but from the corporate perspective also to keep you in that ecosystem and keep their hooks in you so you keep on spending there. Je ne sais pas pourquoi I didn't really engage with them. So
Did you just speak fucking French? Could somebody clip that?
no,
Fucking
Please,
French,
someone
I think.
clip that. Clip that right now. Do it.
I felt bad for not reading out the whole of the question, so I just thought I'd drop that little bit in there, and we'll have the next one, please.
This is gonna go badly for you.
No, we're not having any.
Episode 13
That's
is
the last
aroused,
one.
by
There'll
the
be
way.
no more reading of other things that I don't understand. Right. Episode 13 is asked, with next gen on the horizon for Sony and Xbox and Switch, what would the price be for a standard edition game, and what's your personal limit for a new game? So let's say 2026, speculative release date for the next Xbox. What do you pay for the new Halo game, Gamzly? What's the limit?
So in Canada it's already $89.99. So I would say $10 up. I think they go $10.99. $9.99.
Do you think there are?
99.
We're due another increase of
$9.99.
$10 over there.
Yeah.
What about you, Deadly Headley?
Yeah, I reckon we'll see them go up to 80. And I'm not happy about that at all. If anything, I actually think that's gonna play to Xbox's strengths in Game Pass a lot
Yeah,
more,
'cause it's just
because
been
as
pushed
they
into
get
Game
more
Pass.
expensive,
Mhm.
that value proposition for Game Pass just gets more and more appealing. And it is a very powerful mover for sure. There was actually a guy that I went to uni with, doesn't necessarily pay attention to everything that's going on in the games industry, had an Xbox for quite a long time. I remember we used to play Xbox together at uni. He bought a PS5 mainly because he fancied a change and wanted to see what it was like playing in another ecosystem. He's enjoyed a lot of the games over there, but he messaged group chat the other day, and said, kind of looking at Xbox again. And I asked him why, and he said Forza, because he really, really likes Forza. I thought, I just asked him straight up, have you looked at Game Pass at all? And he went, no, I haven't. What's on it? And at that point, I just thought to myself, mate, it would be easier for me to tell you what's not on it. So gave him the lowdown of, all of these first party games. They come day and date. There is a load of stuff that's being added all the time. A couple other guys in the group chat have also already got Xboxes and started rattling off what they've been playing. And all of a sudden he's gone, it's a really fucking good deal. That's only going to become more and more apparent if games start, 80 quid, 85 quid, 90 quid. The more that goes up, the less people are going to be willing to actually pay full price for it.
I actually think that is true, and I think that's something the industry has hit and experienced very much so with the move to 70. I don't think it has been a massive success. A lot of games have suffered for being that price point. It's a weird one because particularly when you're talking like digital sales, it's not so much about the value of the product. So if you do price it too high, you're not really shifting the cost or trying to make a certain markup on each product. If you put that price too high such that it means you sell less copies of it, then you made less money than you would have done. And I think next gen will see much more flex, a much bigger range of prices, especially with the industry currently buckling under huge budgets and risk needing to be mitigated. I think we're going to get a lot more, like Hellblade 2, a lot more smaller games that don't actually hit that peak price point. And then we'll have some exceptions. We'll have your Grand Theft Autos and your big budget flagships.
Helldivers, right?
Helldivers is another good example, yeah.
$49.99.
Sold a lot better than many games that release at 70. A lot of games, it's a big ask for someone to go and spend 70 straight away. The flip side of that, obviously, is when you do release a game at too high a price and you release it at like 100 quid or whatever, you do also get to sell it at those lower prices over time. And that's the thing that keeps it kind of viable at the moment, is they release a game at 70. It does turn off a massive amount of the audience, but somewhere down the line that game is then 50, 30, whatever the kind of tipping point is. Still, I do think it damages the marketing in a sense, because you want to be able to capitalize on the launch and push numbers at that point. So yeah, I reckon we're going to see a lot of flexibility and a lot of movement in prices in both directions, to be honest. Next question, please. Make this one, how many more are there, Isla? Put the next one up and please pop into chat a number so I know whether we're doing all of them or cutting it short. FTW has asked, not an Xbox question, but is there a date for this mysterious new Nintendo podcast? Second part, who will be on the panel? Oh. Yeah, so there is a Nintendo podcast coming to this channel in the near future. It is not an Xbox channel. It will cover all kinds of platforms. The Nintendo podcast has a name, doesn't have a date yet. It does have an established panel. And as most people involved in that are here, and one of them has chosen to put that question forwards, I guess we might as well say that it is myself and two other people. Next question, please. Pete, we need more Isla. What is Gaming Arcadia doing to rectify the situation? There's a conspiracy here. There's pressure. I'm feeling pressure. Next question, please. Isla, which game genres do you avoid, if any? That's a good question. I can do that. I am not enamored by Metroidvanias and roguelikes, exception being Hades. Stealth clearly makes me very like apprehensive. And I'm actually not a massive fan of 3D platformers. So those are the genres that I don't. Cozy games. Like half the fucking industry outside of these little circles, cozy games I would like to play. You know what I mean? Like your Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, like games, and even like things like Frostpunk as well. These are games that I would like to play if I had time for them, but I know that they are such massive time sinks that I can't engage with them. So I avoid them because I just I want to play them, but I can't. Oh, that's an awesome idea. Thank you, Gamzly. I might just do that. Deadly Headley. Any genres that you outright avoid, even though they're free on Game Pass or whatever else?
Largely JRPGs. Never really been much of a JRPG guy. Yeah, largely JRPGs. Sorry, Gamzly. I would have historically included fantasy RPGs in that list, but actually I've been really keen on the look of Avowed. Obviously, I've gone on so many times about how I'm loving Baldur's Gate 3. So the fantasy RPG answer is definitely waning significantly. But yeah, haven't quite sort of come around to JRPGs yet.
Gamzly.
I don't quite hate any genre, to be honest, but if I had to blink one out of existence, it would be oh my god, anything that relies on cinematic storytelling. There you go.
You are a liar, filthy, spiteful liar. There you go, though.
No console warring on the Xbox Series podcast rule.
Hey, I didn't say nothing. I didn't insinuate anybody.
Said everything you needed to, Gamzly. That's what happened.
We know what you're getting at. You hate Hellblade 2 already. Let's do.
Yeah.
Are there any more?
Yep.
Or was that the last one? Do I want the weird, silly questions or no? Okay,
Yeah,
FTW has asked.
Let's go.
Are you funny like a clown, Asa? No, FTW. I'm never funny. Thank you for that one. Next question, please. Pete, which gaming Arcadia presenter has the smelliest fart? Okay, I think we might have been like, we're kind of getting to the bottom of the barrel now, but it's Gamzly.
Probably me. Yeah, it's Gamzly.
So I reckon we can probably afford to call time on the questions if there are any more, because everyone agrees that's Gamzly.
No, just give it all. Give all the questions. Let's go. It's me.
Mm.
It's always me.
We're done. Please say that was the last one. No, we're done. So let's do our outros. Deadly Headley, thank you for coming on and talking to us about your Baldur's Gate 3 experience and everything else. We've had loads of topics and things to talk about today. So, tell people what you're up to now.
It's been a great show as usual. Thank you for having me as always. So obviously you can find me here every Thursday. You can also find me joining Asa. I don't even know if he knows about this, but I'm going on Go Live on Saturday. So I will see you on Saturday and you have the pleasure of my company again. I'm also having something published, which you will find out more if you follow me on Twitter, because I'm not going to tell you where that's going yet. But I have got an article hopefully coming out fairly soon, so that'd be really cool. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, and there is a new video that you can go and watch there. I published that on Sunday morning, I think. I can't remember. It was some sort of ludicrous time that I shouldn't have been conscious for on a Saturday night. Yeah, well remembered. It actually was. Yes, you can go and find me there. Truth be told, a lot of the content in that video, everybody watching a podcast like this will know everything about it. But if you know a normie who doesn't really know a lot about the gaming industry, thank you, fuck you, I really appreciate that. you just said my last video was a really good watch. I really enjoyed putting that together. Put a lot of time into writing that, editing that, planning some of the comedy beats in it, and just really just sort of giving it my all. So what I would say is that a lot of the information in that video covers things like the PS5 Pro specs, the Xbox handheld rumors that we've obviously talked about on here a lot, massive changes in the gaming industry that, again, go back to the Xbox business update and things like that. I'm hoping that video does sort of maybe capture some of the audience who don't necessarily know a lot about this kind of space that we talk with every day. So if you know anybody who may have some questions or has a lot of disinformation around things that are going on in the industry, things like Xbox title exclusivity, because there's still a lot of nonsense about all Xbox, the whole slate of Xbox titles going to PlayStation, for example, which frankly isn't true. And until Xbox say otherwise, I'm not going to say that it is. Yeah, share that video with people who may have been misled by some information, or just could do with either being more informed, or if you think it might entertain them, please send it to them. That's me. You can find me at Deadly Headley _ on Twitter, or Deadly Headley on YouTube.
Excellent, thank you, Gamzly.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Go Live, by the way. That's good. I'll look forward to that one now. Gamzly.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I only found out today.
Me too. So tell me, Gamzly, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
Well, before I do that, recommendation. We were talking a lot about a lot of video games today. So recommendation on Game Pass, Slay the Spire. Go do that. It's still on Game Pass. I just looked now. So Slay the Spire, the first one, not the second one, obviously, is out now. So go play that, guys. Slay the Spire. Go do that. That's my recommendation. You'll thank me later. Or not. You suck. Anyways, I'll be here on Gaming Arcadia channel, YouTube channel, on the Xbox Series podcast every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I do pop up on Boom's podcast on Double Barrel Gaming lunchtime every Monday. And I'll be in the Discord playing some games with all of you guys and talking a lot of shit. So if you like that confirm. And you like this, I'll be there doing that. And yeah, that's it for now.
Right, Discord actually has these wonderful muting tools as well. So if that sounds like the least appealing thing you can think of, still join. It's good fun over there. Yeah, you can manage, Gamzly. No, it's awesome. It is good there. Thank you both again for coming and making the show fun. Everyone that comes through and talks to us, supports us, and hits that like button. It's great. And we will... Oh, you can find me, GameOn Asa, GameOn Space Asa, on every platform, everywhere, apart from the Switch that doesn't support my name. I'm a massive string of numbers and digits over there. Besides that, yeah, I'm all over the place in every way that you can mean that. And we'll catch you next time.